"Hey old woman, hold still. What are you doing here at this hour?" The shout cut sharply through the quiet of the evening. Officer Matthew Collins's voice rang out across the neatly trimmed lawns of the upscale neighborhood, loud, harsh, and suspicious. Eleanor Harris looked up from the roses she had been tending, blinking in confusion as the aggressive voice disrupted the peace. She straightened slowly, her kind, lined face tilting toward the approaching officer. "Good evening, officer. What seems to be the problem?" "I'm just taking care of these roses," she replied politely, though confusion and a faint unease curled in her chest. Collins's face tightened with a sneer as he scanned Eleanor from head to toe, his gaze lingering pointedly on her dark skin and simple clothes. "You don't look like someone who lives here," he snapped, stepping closer. "You must be the maid, sneaking out to do God knows what while your boss is away. What are you up to?" "Huh." The accusation hit hard, bold and racially charged. Eleanor's soft eyes narrowed. She had lived in this house with her son, Jordan Harris, for several months now. She might not wear designer clothes like many of the other women in the neighborhood, but she belonged here. "Officer, I am not anyone's maid," she said, her voice steady though the offense stung deeply. "This is my son's home. Jordan Harris. I live here with him." "Jordan Harris? Here in Crestview Meadows?" "Don't make things up," Collins spat, suspicion sharpening his tone. "Where's your ID? Prove it. Let's see if you're really someone's mother or just some vagrant trespassing." "I was in my own yard," Eleanor replied, the warmth draining from her voice. "I didn't bring my wallet outside. I have no obligation to show you identification when I've done nothing wrong. Tell me, officer, under what cause are you stopping me?" Her reasoned response only fueled Collins's anger. He was a man made uncomfortable by those who stood their ground, especially a black woman who dared question his authority. His hand hovered near the grip of his gun, tension pulsing in the air. "Because I doubt you," he barked, his voice rising as his face flushed red. "You're being defiant. You're hiding something." Eleanor instinctively stepped back, raising her hands slightly in a defensive, open gesture. But Collins, blinded by prejudice and already caught in his rage, saw the motion through the warped lens of his own fear and hatred. "Freeze! Drop your weapon," he screamed irrationally, though all Eleanor held in her hands was a small pair of garden shears. "Officer, Eleanor began, but the words never finished. Collins's gun was already drawn. The shot cracked through the air, shattering the calm of the neighborhood. One shot. Direct. Fatal. The bullet struck Eleanor in the chest. Her eyes widened in shock, confusion, and horror as she stumbled backward, collapsing beside the roses she had so carefully tended. Blood darkened the ground beneath her, soaking into the lawn, the purple of her sweater turning darker where the red spread. Collins stood frozen, staring down at the old woman's body. The gun smoked faintly in his trembling hand. His mind reeled. What had he done? The fog of panic rushed in, overtaking whatever justification he had told himself moments before. Windows in nearby houses opened. Faces appeared, some screaming. "Oh my God! Somebody call 911. She's been shot." Collins jolted, shoving his gun back into its holster. His fingers scrambled for his radio. "Dispatch, this is Unit 82. Officer involved shooting subject was threatening. I had to fire in self-defense. Request immediate backup and medical." But the truth had already begun to seep through the seams of his hastily woven story. The woman lying dead on the grass was not just anyone. She was Eleanor Harris, the beloved mother of Jordan Harrison, Assistant U.S. Attorney known for his unflinching commitment to justice. Within minutes, flashing red and blue lights washed over the pristine street. Officers strung yellow tape around the yard. Medics rushed to Eleanor's side, but there was nothing they could do. She was gone, the single bullet having torn through her heart and lungs. Detective Samuel Ortega, a veteran investigator with the Crestview Police Department, was called in to lead the case. He arrived to a chaotic scene, his stomach turning as he looked at the covered body. The spent shell casing and Collins' pale, shaking, but sticking to his version of self-defense. Collins repeated his claim to Ortega. "She reached into her pocket. I thought she had a weapon. I was afraid for my life. I had to act." But as Ortega gathered preliminary statements from neighbors, the narrative began to crumble. Witness after witness described the same thing, an old woman peacefully tending roses. "No threats. No aggression. Just Collins yelling. Then the gunshot. Key to unraveling the truth was Collins's body camera footage, confiscated and sealed as evidence. Ortega ordered the footage prioritized for review, knowing it would be the most critical piece of this grim puzzle. The investigation turned from routine to explosive when Eleanor's identification was recovered. Her wallet, tucked safely inside the house, contained her name and her emergency contact, Jordan Harris. Ortega felt the weight of the moment as he made the hardest call of his career. The line rang, then picked up. U.S. Attorney's Office. Harris speaking. Mr. Harris, this is Detective Samuel Ortega with the Crestview Police Department. I'm afraid there's been a shooting at your residence. The line went silent. Your mother, Eleanor Harris, she didn't survive. I'm so sorry, sir. The quiet on the other end was deafening, heavy with shock and heartbreak. Jordan's voice returned, controlled but laced with grief. My mother is dead? What happened? Who did this? Sir, it was one of our officers, Matthew Collins. He claims self-defense, but Ortega's voice cracked slightly. We're investigating fully. Jordan Harris's response was cold, fury barely restrained beneath the surface. I'm coming there right now. Word of the incident spread quickly. A federal prosecutor's mother killed in her own front yard by local law enforcement. The city braced for the firestorm. The Department of Justice immediately ordered the FBI to take control of the investigation. Special Agent Veronica Graves, known for her integrity and tenacity in civil rights cases, arrived within hours. Evidence collection resumed under her team's oversight. At Quantico, forensic analysts pored over the body cam footage. The truth was undeniable. The video clearly showed Collins approaching Eleanor aggressively, shouting at her, hurling insults, demanding identification. His tone dripped with contempt and prejudice. Eleanor, by contrast, remained calm, firm, asking why she was being questioned. No threats, no weapon. The footage captured the exact moment Collins shouted, "Drop your weapon," followed by the instant discharge of his firearm. There was no weapon. Only Eleanor's empty hands and the garden shears resting harmlessly at her side. The footage shattered Collins's story. Autopsy results confirmed what the video showed. Close-range gunshot wound to the chest. No defensive wounds. No struggle. No trace of gunpowder residue on Eleanor's hands. Public outrage exploded. Civil rights organizations demanded justice. Vigils formed outside the Harris residence, flowers and candles lining the sidewalk. Michael Collins was arrested, charged with second-degree murder, deprivation of civil rights under color of law, and use of a deadly weapon in the commission of a violent crime. The Justice Department, citing the severity of the case and the abuse of authority, pursued the death penalty. Amanda Pearson, a seasoned federal prosecutor known for handling high-stakes civil rights cases, was appointed to lead the prosecution. Her strategy was clear: expose the pattern of misconduct in Collins's past, prior complaints from minority citizens, use of excessive force, all swept under the rug by weak internal discipline. The trial drew national attention. The courtroom was packed. Daily activists, media, grieving neighbors. Jordan Harris sat silently in the front row, face stone, eyes fierce. The prosecution played the body cam footage before the jury, dissecting every frame. They called witnesses who confirmed Eleanor's gentle character and described what they had seen. Collins's defense tried to argue stress, fear, a tragic misjudgment. They claimed Eleanor's hand motion had seemed threatening. But the video made the defense impossible to sustain. When Collins took the stand, he wept, claiming remorse, citing work stress and fear. But under Pearson's relentless cross-examination, his excuses crumbled. The jury deliberated for days but returned with a unanimous guilty verdict on all charges. At sentencing, after considering the aggravating factors, the abuse of power, racial motivation, the innocence of the victim, the jury recommended the death penalty. The judge upheld the recommendation, delivering the final sentence. Collins collapsed in the courtroom, sobbing as U.S. Marshals led him away. Outside, Jordan Harris addressed the press briefly. This was not justice for my mother alone. This was a stand against the sickness of racism and unchecked violence. My mother believed in justice. So do I. And I will fight for it every day for the rest of my life. The case sent shockwaves across the nation. Police departments reevaluated training and oversight. Law schools and civil rights groups studied the case as a landmark example of systemic failure and accountability. Eleanor Harris's life, taken so cruelly, became the catalyst for change her son vowed to pursue: a lasting legacy of strength, dignity, and the demand for justice.